Hey everybody, we're back. I know you missed us last week, but there's a good reason, and Mark will explain it. Mark will explain it. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. Um, Mark's back. My beard's not. Wait. I might have messed things up.
Well, no.
There we go. Audio. I messed up the audio. Talk, my friend. Now
Okay.
you're good.
Hello. Now you
Now
can
we're
hear me?
good.
Now, okay.
Should we start our shtick over again?
Yeah, let's do this again. Hey, what's up,
Oh
everybody?
my God,
And
we're back.
we're back.
Oh well. So
My
yeah,
goodness.
Mark's fixed. Yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot that there's a slider. So what it is when we do the countdown, like we're kind of hidden behind the countdown, right? And then I have to turn the volume down for us so you guys can't hear us talk. And then when it comes back, anyway, that's how it works. It's
Anyways,
just,
yes. So, anyways, we're back, and yeah. So, some of you guys I know you've reached out to me personally or whatever, and you asked did you guys miss an episode or whatnot? You didn't. Last week we did skip an episode. There's a reason for that. It has some life things to do, but we will get into as to why, what those life things are. I know some of you have DM'd me. It's not something major happened, but nothing major happened. I mean, well, kind of major, but nothing super serious.
Mark didn't get
So,
pregnant. No.
no, I did not get pregnant, and I did not get COVID, so it's all good.
Yeah, both of those things. Actually,
So,
yeah, I was trying to be more. Didn't think about that.
yeah, no, I didn't get sick, and I didn't get pregnant, so I'm good. But yeah, it's good to be back, and for you guys to get the latest news and updates, of course, remember to subscribe to our channel here and follow us on Facebook if you haven't done so. We have a great community going on over there.
Subscribe's
And,
like down in that far corner,
yeah.
underneath Mark. It's under Mark.
Wherever Jono's pointing.
Just go to Mark and then go down. You'll see it. It's like at the corner there.
Yeah, we have a fantastic community over there. People post all the time. I try to make as many posts as we can throughout the week, so it's engaging. So, yeah, head on over there and hang out. So, how are you, Mr. 10 years younger, once again?
Yeah, wow, I know. I'm trying it out. Like I'm just getting a little scruff, trying something different. I don't know. I've had that beard for, as you said, 10 years younger. I had that beard for probably 10 years. Like legit 10 years. So it's like, maybe it's time. There's a lot of changes. God, we're episode 14. I'm still teasing this. But we were actually just talking about that. We were just talking about that before we jumped in the show. And we're on the edge. Like things
Someday
are actually
you're gonna tell
happening.
us.
Yeah, someday
Someday.
I'm gonna tell you. Someday eventually. Yeah.
Someday.
But yeah, I just figure like, hey, you know what? It's time to change. Time to look a little, try to see if I can roll the years back. It's like, what do I look like under this thing? And I was like, hey, okay, it works.
It's all good. It's all good. So, other than that, like, what's you been up to? Isn't it like Taiwan Day over there?
Well, yesterday officially. Today's the
Yesterday.
holiday.
Right.
Yesterday was
it
the
fell on a
actual
Sunday,
day.
right?
Yeah, 10/10. It's National Day. Taiwan National Day, so which is the equivalent of the 4th of July.
Right.
In the States. So,
Yes.
yep, big day, kind of like national pride, independence, all that good stuff. So it was kind of, the morning was Chinooks flying overhead, carrying huge Taiwan flag up underneath them, and then like fighter jet flyovers and a big parade out here. It's,
Nice.
it's a pretty big,
Sounds
pretty
like
big
fun.
event. Yeah. So
Sounds like fun. Sounds
Yeah.
like fun. Did you go and join in the festivities?
well, no, I can't. I mean, I can see it on my window here. Like, if I open this, they fly over my house. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like they were out the window. I've got a picture. I don't have it set up so I can put pictures in. But I've got a picture of like literally taking out that window right there. Like they're like they're like overhead. I open the window and I see like the shadow of the helicopter blades like hit the building. I'm like, huh? They're probably 200 feet up. Like maybe,
Right.
maybe. Okay, I'm exact. Like maybe a couple hundred meters above. They're flying low and they're carrying this massive, like unbelievably huge, there's 2 Chinooks, and the flag's like tip to toe that big.
Wow.
Underneath each one, and they're flying like really slow. And they've got escort Blackhawks. But
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, I saw Stu was also posting a bunch of photos about good old Taiwan National Day.
yep,
Yeah, I mean, I always can rely on Stu to post photos choice and classy ladies
Yep.
with the Taiwanese pride, attire.
Yep.
It's a
Always.
I'll give him 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
Way to go, Stu. You are the man.
Stu's like, we should have done a rooftop barbecue. Yeah, I know, right? Like, I've got like the unit next to me. Like, there's only two on each floor here. The next door one's like just been empty for a year. So like, we just go up to the roof, go above theirs, and you can barbecue. So.
Yeah. There you go.
But it's also today's typhoon day, so.
Yeah, dude, we just had a typhoon last week. Yeah, it was so weird because the typhoon actually fell proper on Friday. But somehow, the government delayed the typhoon warning. A huge. So in Hong Kong, when we do construction, they have these huge bamboo scaffoldings.
Oh, I saw this on the news.
Yeah.
Tell the story, man.
So in Hong Kong, when we do construction, they do these bamboo scaffoldings on the outside of these buildings, and they're huge and elaborate, and they are a sight to behold. And then the reason why they use bamboo is because bamboo is very strong. They can flex a little bit. They have a little bit more give than steel, and they work well in such a humid climate like Hong Kong. But then that also makes them very susceptible to strong wind because they're all tied together with nothing more than like zip ties.
I've seen these things like in
zip ties.
like Jackie Chan movies and John Woo movies and things like that. You always see like the bamboo scaffolding. It's always the fight scene, and like the hero grabs like a bamboo pole off the scaffolding and he's like fighting people with it. It's that,
exactly.
Right? Okay.
It is exactly that. So what happened was a huge scaffolding fell on Friday morning. And because of the strong winds and the rain and so on, and one person lost their life, and then the other person is still missing. So
missing,
not a good day.
Missing's not good.
Yeah, not a good day. But so after that, I think the government kind of kicked it in high gear and issued the the strong signal warning on Saturday. Kind of on everybody's day off. So, yeah. So for the whole day, it was basically typhoon warning that whole day, which they should have done on Friday instead. Because Saturday, to be honest, it was more scattered rainstorms, and the winds really kicked on Friday.
See, they just said they were maybe like hoping like, let's get another work day in, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, we can't come on. The markets don't run themselves.
I know, man.
And so that that is the running joke. But the thing is, like, now we have another one moving in, and I think they're trying to be a little bit too proactive. So they're saying there possibly could be a typhoon warning tomorrow already. Possibly tomorrow.
A lot of criticism. The eyeballs are on them now, so they don't mess it up.
So catch is there's also a public holiday on Thursday. Yeah, there's a public holiday on Thursday, and we were supposed to go do something, a family, and so now we're all like, everybody's on typhoon watch. Like, we don't know what we're gonna do now. So. Yeah. Here we are, like today.
So it's the one that's probably cruising past me right now. It's going to take a turn.
Same one that we have.
It's taking a turn and heading your way.
Yeah, but like if you look on the radar, it's not even close. It's like heading to Hainan, direction, right? It's like
here,
in between.
In Taipei, it's interesting because you've got like all the typhoons typically come from the east. There's very rarely come from the west. Like there's only been like one or two ever that's come from the west, like come up and hooked in. And on the east, there's like all mountains, like around Taipei. So like it does come, but it's just like. Yeah. Now the East Coast gets pounded, like Hualien, they get pounded, but like Taipei itself, I mean, you can get some serious rain, and they had rain back in was it the 90s, 2000, early 2000s, I forget the year. They had like a massive flood. It flooded Taipei, Maine. It was like 10 meters of water underground in the subway system. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, we had that a few years too, but so we'll see how that goes. Oh, you got the fancy stuff.
Yeah, we talk about what we're drinking, right?
Stuff. Yeah.
We got to talk about what we're drinking today. I just found this. We were talking before the show that you have this already.
Yeah, we have it, but the smaller cans, like
I didn't know I could get Sierra here, and I was like, oh, I can get Sierra Nevada. I was like, oh, I got to get Sierra Nevada. So I got this, and I got one more for later on in the show. I got it one of my favorite Taiwan brewery, Taihu.
Oh, okay.
They got something different.
It was gonna be your favorite Taiwan brewery, Taiwan beer.
Taiwan beer. I'm gonna
Well,
enjoy
there goes our
an
Taiwan beer.
American IPA. Yeah, there goes our Taiwan beer sponsorship.
There goes our Taiwan beer sponsorship. Oh, dang it.
Yeah, they do a couple good things, but now Taihu, if you're watching,
Yeah.
I'm right here, man. I'm right around the
Uh,
corner.
Santori, if you're watching, I'm also asking for Mitch. His name is Mitchell Leong, and my name is Mark.
His
So
name
you can
is
sponsor
the
the both of us.
Mitch.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. The Mitch.
The Mitch.
The and Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
Oh.
having Santori today.
I haven't had one of these in forever.
Hmm.
Went to their tap room or their brewery. I can't remember. The one in California.
Private Bumpkin, you're drinking some nice stuff today. Death Wish coffee with a salted caramel whiskey for the morning.
For the morning. Whew.
Ooh, somebody fancy. Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, all right, this show, since we've spent a good chunk of time talking about what's going on,
Yes.
this show, you're talking about, things, stuff. We always talk
and
about
things.
food. We talk about
Yeah.
travel, but this
That's right.
time
That's right.
we're gonna explain. We're talking about something very near and dear to you, and it just kind of came up as a topic,
Yeah.
and why last week didn't happen.
It
We're
all
gonna talk
ties
about-
in, guys.
yeah.
I swear.
We're going to talk about transportation. And we're not talking about
Yeah.
plane travel. Plane travels, you can Google, there's 1,000 people talking about that. We're talking about specifics of tips and tricks and how to get around in the countries we're
Yes.
experienced in the local travel ways, including if you got the guts to pull it off. And I do mean guts because it takes some bravery
Yeah.
driving.
Yes.
And that's why
Yes.
Mark wasn't, we decided to punt. I didn't want to do a solo show because it's just not the same. It was because Mark was getting his driver's license. So the question
Yes.
is, before we start anything else, did you pass?
I passed. Dude, that's a crazy story. And we'll get to that
At the end.
when we get to number 4, right? It's crazy. I swear to God, I've never had this kind of experience in my life. But yeah, you're absolutely right. We want to talk about traveling today. That's also near and dear to my heart as well, because, when we're traveling, you're right. Planes, you can always look up planes, right? Planes is easy. It's so straightforward for the most part. But getting around, what to do, what modes of transport I think really lends itself best to certain countries.
Mhm.
I think this is a topic you only hear a lot of travel shows or the podcasts like them we touch on, but we got real good personal experience with this aspect, especially with Mr. Masaki once again in the chat, guiding us through this.
Yep.
So it's
I've
gonna
got
be
some
good.
Japan stories too. So,
Yeah, those are always good.
some Japan taxis. Taxis in Japan. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nicest things ever.
Yeah, but you got to pay.
So expensive.
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh.
So expensive.
Oh, you want to go 2 kilometers? That's $50 US. Huh? Gosh.
But you feel like you're riding the lap of luxury. I
You
swear to God.
are, man. You're the king because you're riding in the crown. Anyway, we'll talk about that
Yes.
too.
Yes,
So,
yes.
first up, I guess we'll talk about just getting around.
Yes.
And I think one thing specifically in Asia, most of the places you get to go, at least most of the developed cities, you're going to find some sort of subway transportation. So we can kind of start with subway
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that used to scare me when I landed. If I got somewhere, I'm like, oh my God, the subway. Oh, it's just so it was crazy. I guess the more I've lived here, the more I realize it's not as bad as you think. So
Absolutely.
I navigated the subway in Hong Kong first time in, no problem.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And most of the countries I've found, and you can tell me too, they always have it in English. So if
Yes,
you're English
they do.
speaking, which I'm guessing you are if you're listening to the podcast or watching, you're going to be able to get by, right? You're going to figure this thing out.
Yeah. I think one of the big things is people always say, oh, make sure you get the multi-pass and all this. True, that is very important. But I think what's more so important is your location, right? Location.
Mm-hmm.
Because the subway stations are also great as a mode of getting from point to point. Because for example, if you go to when you're in Hong Kong, the subway stations, once you have kind of oriented yourself and you've done a little bit of kind of looking at the area that you're staying in, a lot of times the subway subway station itself can bring you from one point of town to the next point of town without having the craziness of trying to find the specific road or junction or crosswalk.
Mhm.
So, and that's just for Hong Kong. But so if you go to an even larger city like Taipei or like Osaka, you know,
Mhm.
this is incredibly convenient for you to use the subway system as just even for foot traffic. So that's another thing that it's really good to look out for as well. So get oriented as well before you even just like jump in and buy a multipass. You never know. You could just use the subway and go from one stop to maybe almost close to where you need to go and exit, and you're there
And I've
without
done
having
that
to get
too.
on the
Like
train.
I've really find that when I'm booking my hotels now, I look not necessarily for like where exactly I want to be,
Mhm.
but in that general area and then near subway stations.
Yeah.
Because also the other tip is if it's not subway getting you there, typically the subway stations have a very established bus stop, and you're going to have
Yes.
more bus routes leaving that stop than anything else. And I
Yeah.
think this comes to not buying the multi-pass. I know a lot of people do that. It's like, oh, they always advertise to tourists. You get off the plane, they're like, get a 72-hour pass or get a 5-day pass, and you can go. I'll tell you what I do. You know what this is?
Yeah.
You know that like I've got a bunch to take my Taiwan one. Taiwan's are linked
Mine's
to
my
your
wallet somewhere.
I've got Japan. I've got a Hong Kong one somewhere. Octopus
Your
card.
octopus
I got
card. Yeah.
octopus somewhere in here. I don't know
It's
what
in
an
your
octopus.
phone now too, so you can actually just lift up your phone and just tap it.
Right, but
Yeah,
I
it's
will
got
get one
NFC
of
now too.
these,
Yeah.
especially like a good example is Taiwan.
Yeah.
If you get their subway card, it's also a stored value card that works in every convenience store here, and almost I would say 75% of the bigger shops you're going to come across.
Mhm.
Even some shops that don't take credit cards, like
Yeah.
you go to a Family Mart or a 7-Eleven, they don't take a credit card, but they will take
Mhm.
the Taiwan version of this. And so your
Yes.
subway card is actually very valuable. I will actually, and that's why I have, I mean, when was the last time I went to Japan? Forever. I always get these
Yeah.
and I'll load
Yeah.
them up. And I actually have two because speaking of Mitch, I got Mitch one, so I ended up having to get two of them here. Because I had my leftover one, I left it with Mitch, and then I used the rest of it to get back. So it's good to get around on those because they're really convenient
Yeah.
and just keeping some cash on it. And when it gets low,
Mhm.
you can top it off. There's machines in every terminal, and they always
Yeah.
work on the subway and the bus system too.
Exactly.
And Google Maps typically is going to have in your phone, you're going to have a public transportation option that will
Mhm.
help you look at bus tables and schedules, which sometimes it's really hard to look up. I mean, really.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. Actually, what I've been very impressed is Apple's new map updates, especially for Hong Kong and some of the larger cities. Now it also has like suggestions, and it links with Siri, so you can actually just type in like a question, and it'll actually bring up points of interest for you. So I'm pretty sure like Google probably has something similar as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so don't be afraid to even do that. It just makes life a little bit easier.
And I've also found too that the attendants in the subway, the ones especially behind like the glass counters where you
Yeah.
have to go buy cards, your chance of them speaking English is incredibly high. So like
Yeah.
if you need help, they're a valuable asset. Really, you can get off the subway, go and talk to them. Go, hey, I got a question. I'm a tourist. Can you help me? And they're there to assist. And
Yeah.
you can get some great recommendations from those people, like places
Mhm.
to eat, things to do. A lot of times they have like a local map for the area that's not a map where people have paid to have their company, their businesses put on it, but actually a proper little regional map
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
area you're in.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So there's a lot of really good tips and tricks getting on and off the subway. And the subways are really easy. I mean, to be honest, the worst case is you get on the wrong one. It's fine. You go one stop, you jump off, you get back on the other one, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Masaki's asking, does the Oyster card let you use for other payments too? Do you know?
the Oyster
That's the
card.
one in the UK, right? The Oyster card.
Is that the Oyster card? I don't know. I've never been to the UK, so
I don't know.
that's a
Well,
question for Stu, I think.
Stu, it's time for you to get on that.
Yeah. But I know in Taiwan, there's a couple different systems. I think they finally linked them all with the standard pass. Basically, on the cards, I don't have my wallet on me. There's a little logo on the ones here that have like four little kind of like magenta green, whatever colors. They have four little splotchy colors on it, and that's the generic card that works
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing for here. Like, pick yourself up an octopus card, which is the same thing as what yours is, or like the IC card from Japan. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. You top it up and you can just use it for other kind of like, cashless payment around the city
Can
as
you use
well.
it like at Seven and
Yeah,
places like that? Okay.
7-Eleven, McDonald's,
Yeah, McDonald's will
Circle
take it.
K.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the fast food chains, actually all of the fast food chains
Yep.
will take it.
Same here.
Yeah, and of course transportation. All
So
forms of
if
transportation
you
will
don't
take it.
want to deal with like keeping cash on you, like I said, you load this thing up, you get on, you go, you can put, chunk of change on there, and then you can use it all day long.
Yeah.
And you can get around and you have like just one form, and you're not risking your credit card being stolen. You're not risking your cash being taken or something happening. Especially, I mean, Asia for the most part is pretty darn safe. Yeah, at least
Yeah.
in my experience. At least in
Yeah.
Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, I've never felt
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
unsafe.
Yeah,
But we
for
can
sure.
get to other countries where you get into like the Philippines and you get into like Vietnam and places like that where you don't have the subway. Now you've got to lean on other forms.
Yes.
So,
So, again, like especially when you're in Southeast Asia, you know, you have a lot of alternative forms of transport. I mean, like you just said, the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand. So I think one of the big things that jump out is probably the tuk-tuks, right?
the
It's probably going to
scams,
be
the
like,
tuk-tuk
yeah,
scam. Everybody, I mean,
exactly. But that's going to probably be the one thing that's going to jump out at you. And I feel like one of the things that you really want to do ahead of time before you jump on one is make sure you have a paper that kind of tells you, maybe from your hotel, that kind of helps you with some basic, directions. Like if you got to go to a certain place, just ask the hotel person, like, hey, how much if I took a tuk-tuk? How much does this usually cost? So they don't try to cheat you, right?
or
So,
better yet, we've talked this before, get the hotel to call theirs. One,
yeah.
it's usually got a discount rate because they've worked a deal.
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. That's
the
very
rate's
true.
going to be a little better for you and for the hotel's getting it paid. And the hotel's going to come out and they're going to write the taxi cab number down. They'll be like, okay, Mark's staying in room number 123, and here is the taxi number and the license plate. Okay, all right, Mark, see you later, bye.
Yeah.
And they're going to track those things. So if you get lost or whatever, you can always call back to the hotel, which you should have the number plugged in your phone when you get to the hotel. Get the card from them, put the main line number in your phone.
Yep.
And then use that to be able to get back. Because you could get a card and lose the card, right?
So true. Yeah.
But yeah. And there's always taxi scams. I've had some taxi drivers here try to take me for a ride. One of them was a total accident, and this is why I always do it. I always make sure I run Google Maps navigating to the location
time.
at the same time. And a
Yeah.
tip is, if you're not going to get a data plan, go ahead and go to the area you're going to be, and we talked about this in the previous show as well.
Yeah.
Is you can do a offline map in Google Maps. I think Apple Maps does it too.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
And you can set the boundaries of the area you're going to be in. Like, okay, I'm going to be in this chunk, and it's like usually like 40 kilometers square. It's a pretty big chunk they'll let you download. And you can do multiples too, and it will download the entirety of that map onto your phone. So if you're offline, it's still going to work. So let's say you don't have a SIM card. Let's say you're relying on public Wi-Fi and you're in an area, or you're driving down the road where you're not going to get public Wi-Fi between, so the taxi driver's not going to take advantage of you. I found having your phone out and having it on and kind of being a little obvious that the taxi driver, tuk-tuk driver, whoever sees that you're also navigating and you've got navigation running. Sometimes I'll actually turn navigation on and have it loud, but on a quiet setting so they can kind of hear, to know that I'm paying
In their
attention.
language.
Yeah, well, not in their language, but at least
Wait a
letting them
minute,
know.
what?
Yeah, at least letting them know that I'm tracking the trip.
Yeah. So
Because
true.
it's like one of those things. Like, you don't have to be the most secure. Like, always my theory about getting your house robbed, at least in America, you don't have to be the most secure house. You just have to be the most secure house of your neighbors, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then somebody else,
yeah,
like,
that's
so
true.
they look at you, they're going, okay, this guy's not a sucker. I'm not gonna, I can't
Yeah.
scam him,
Yeah.
but I can get the next guy, right? They know they
Yeah.
can't get everybody. So those are just some tips that I've found that work well. Also, if you get to some of these countries that I guess are, say, a little less developed, a little less, you know, I guess, established. I mean, obviously Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, they're all, we're talking about, S tier, no
Yeah.
problem. No problem at all.
Mostly Eastern Asia, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like East Asia cities, you're gonna be fine.
Southeast Asia, you can run into
Yeah.
some
You can
mixed.
run into some sketch. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I-
look ahead of time to see what taxi app they have to prevent you from running into those cash scams, those overcharged taxi scams.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, this sounds super scary, right? For people say, "Oh man, I don't want to get, I don't want to get taken for a ride," but it's okay. I mean, I think the biggest thing that you can do to help yourself to prevent getting scammed is just do a little bit of homework ahead of time. Give yourself an idea, like read some of the comments from TripAdvisor or something. A lot of these user comments, some of them is total BS, but there's a lot of gold in there,
Yeah.
so like, just go and just take it with a grain of salt, read some of it, and chances are you're going to go in with way better knowledge, and you can easily prevent these things from happening, because
Yeah.
the experience of like going on a tuk-tuk or going on a palm boat ride, which is like, just like those long sampans, it's a fantastic experience, and you don't want to get ruined by having to overpay.
No.
So it really does take away from the fun, when you
It
realize
does.
you're paying double.
And then Stu
And
had a good point about the
yeah.
airports. Like,
Yeah,
look,
that's exactly
if
what I was gonna say.
if somebody's in an airport, like, hey, you need a taxi? No, go to the taxi stand.
Yes.
Always go to the taxi stand. Even
That's
here
right.
in Taiwan, you get off the plane, you get your luggage, you go through customs and immigration. Once you go through that last customs check, you walk out, and
Tessie, sir.
yeah, they're kind of like slightly slick about the, hey, do you need a ride? And I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
good, thanks. Usually I say it in the native language, which is enough, like basically tell them to go.
Yeah,
And then they
yeah.
get it. They're like, then they just walk away. They don't even try to push. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no. So it's like,
Little do you know, that's all I know how to
yeah,
say.
that's it. I ran out of words, right? But a simple no thanks in the native
Yeah.
language works quite well for them to be like, okay, well, this guy's been here before. Maybe he knows the game. But always get to the proper taxi stand. That way, you're not going to get. Those are usually on a like, at least here, I know the ones that are queued up, they are done by the government. You have to like
Yeah.
apply. They have to go through registration process. There's a lot going.
Here
Now,
too. Yeah.
but now we have quarantine taxis. I mean, you're 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you this. So when you get off the airport here now, you have to go. They take you straight out. There's no other taxi out. There's no transport options. You go straight out to a quarantine taxi, and they will take you only to your registered quarantine hotel. So they look you up. They say,
Really?
okay, hi, Mr. Higgs. Which hotel are you registered at? There's this one. Okay, that's on our quarantine list. Good. If not, you get pulled out of line. You got to fix your hotel situation. All right, you're on the quarantine list. It's the right hotel. Cool, no problem. They go and they tell the taxi driver where to take you. They drop you off. The taxi driver reports back that you were dropped off there. And
Wow.
you
I don't know.
go,
Maybe they do
you
the
check
same
in.
thing here.
You check in, and you're stuck there for 2 weeks.
Maybe they do the same thing here. Just I don't even remember what the airport looks like anymore. Anyways,
Me either.
speaking of which, Captain Nick, he's stuck at the airport right now because he's been in quarantine.
At the
Poor
airport
man.
quarantine?
Yeah, he's at the airport hotel.
Oh, because he's doing
yeah.
the pilots do the short term stuff. Yeah.
Oh no, he's doing full quarantine. He doesn't get out till next week.
Ugh.
Love you, Nick. If you're listening, I just want to let you know. Prayers with you. Stay strong, my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's been stuck in quarantine. But yeah, like I don't know. I kind of forgot what the facade of the Hong Kong International Airport looks like. Maybe I'll just skip on down there on the leisurely drive.
Yeah, since you can drive now.
Yeah, just go past it. Oh, hi, and then leave.
Or if you're in a different city, if you're far enough away, you can take alternate transportation like the high speed rail.
Ah, yes.
Like
Good
we have
transition.
here.
I like how you
Yeah,
did
you
that.
like that, man. I just slid it right in.
Oh, smooth.
Here, Japan, you have some rail. You have high speed rail, but it's to take you into mainland
It's
China.
wow. Here, it's a little more complicated to take high-speed rail here. But pre-COVID, there was finally a connection point to the actual high-speed rail, like the China network.
Yeah, China. I knew they put one in, and they had like a new fast gate. they
Yeah.
installed.
So yeah, they had the Chinese immigration now in Hong Kong soil at the same time. So you go through Hong Kong immigration, then Chinese immigration at once, and then you go into, your rail. So for those of you listening, at the moment, there is still a fixed border immigration process for you to leave Hong Kong going into China, and of course, vice versa. You need to either get a China return card or a Chinese visa to go back into China. And for people from China, you also need the same thing. So you need a visa signature to allow Chinese citizens to come to Hong Kong. So yes, even though they're geographically attached, there's still some, semblance of like you just can't freely go in and out.
Are they planning on changing that? Are there plans in
I
the
don't think
works?
so. I don't think so. I mean, if you think about it, the same thing kind of applies for Shenzhen,
Hmm.
the Shenzhen economic zone. If you're an outside Chinese person, like you need to get special permits to come to Shenzhen to work.
Okay, because it's like a free trade zone, right?
Yeah, it's like a free trade zone, and then like it's like some weird semi-autonomous area in Shenzhen, similar as Guangzhou as well, very
Mm-hmm.
similar. Um, it's you don't need a visa to go there, but you need a special work permit to work there. So if
Okay.
you want to work in Shenzhen, you need special permission to work in Shenzhen. If
Okay.
not, you won't even be able to go there. Yeah, special economic zone. Yeah.
Yeah, so it must be like wages might be a little better. Or there could be like
Yeah.
different things. Yeah.
Yeah, you need a certain level of education.
Hmm.
You need to be able to afford a certain standard of living and so on. Which I guess for the population of China, I guess like to some extent to them it makes sense. But they've had this for the longest time. I think it's
Yeah.
also the same thing with Shanghai, where like I think they don't even want their outside migrants to be living in Shanghai proper.
Yeah,
You know,
I know Shanghai, there's like a lot of restrictions on.
yeah, they have a lot of restrictions up in Shanghai.
Yeah.
But then again, Shanghai gonna Shanghai, it can do
Yeah.
whatever it wants.
Yep. It's the money, the economic
Yeah.
stuff there.
But speaking of high speed rail,
Yes.
it's probably my favorite mode of transportation.
I would have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Like, given the option, like, even in Europe, taking the train's one thing, but, and it's nice. Taking the train's nice. But, like, here in Taiwan, given the option, if I'm going to go do something in the South and I'm going to be relatively close to where, like, the train is or I can get around, I would just, I mean, you get on that thing, you're doing almost 200 kilometers an hour,
Hmm.
and you're there in no time.
Cushy, and just to kind of show, I have a book about all of the site. It's
See,
the sightseeing
Japan. The
train.
first word is
Yeah.
Japan.
It's the Japanese sightseeing train lines, kind of like a
What was that?
Bible.
What was that?
So
Urban something Guang
yeah.
what?
观光旅游
Yeah,
列车.
Mandarin.
Yeah.
Like
This book is from Taiwan.
Oh, okay, good. It's
Yeah.
from Taiwan. Huh? It's like I can
Yeah,
read
this book
3
is from
words.
Taiwan.
That's it.
Yeah, so yeah, this is one of my favorite books that I love. I love kind of looking here and planning, and it has different lines, different trains for you to ride, and I really love this book because it's got a lot of bucket list places that I want to go, but at the same time, like while yes, there's like to Americans, the ideal thing is to road trip, right? But like for here, if you kind of take the train, there's a different kind of experience you get with just being able to see the country and the countryside, because a lot of I can only really speak for Europe and in Japan. I've taken the Shinkansen with Masaki. I've taken a few really nice rides
Same.
myself.
Misaki was like totally hooked
Yeah.
us up with like
Totally, and I would have to say, like, you really see another side of the country you otherwise will not be able to see if you drive.
Yep. And I do think Europe's the same way. Not just even high speed rail. Like, I did enjoy taking the train in Europe. It's a good
Yeah,
experience,
same.
especially if you get like a
Yeah.
decent, like you don't have to go to like the top tier class seats, but
Mhm.
you can get like a decent seat, get a window.
Yeah,
You just get comfortable and you get to see, like you said, the areas in between, like the
Yeah.
flyover areas, right?
yeah, yeah, and beautiful. The rolling hills, the farmlands, all throughout central Germany, going down to
Mm.
Austria. It was Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I did. What was it? Amsterdam? What we did? Amsterdam to Nuremberg. I did that stretch, and that was interesting. That was a good one. Like flying in, was it Amsterdam or was it Frankfurt? No, I think we flew. I think we flew into Frankfurt that year.
Hmm.
So it was Frankfurt landed, and then the airport is attached to the train station. Like it's kind of like a long meandering connector between the 2 and you cut over, and then I hopped on the train and went down. So that was good. That was actually a really enjoyable trip. 3 hours maybe on the train, 2.5, 3.
Longest ride I think I've ever taken on the train was an 8-hour ride from Berlin to Munich,
Wow.
because I was from my old company. Beautiful ride, by the way, but we had to take the 5 o'clock train. Reason being, Lufthansa in Berlin decided to strike,
Ugh.
and we couldn't fly our connection from Berlin to Munich. And we had to fly from Munich back to Hong Kong that evening.
Gee. So you had to
Oh my
like this
God.
was the only solution. This
This
is
was
like
the only solution.
Yeah.
We had to hop on the train, and it was one of their faster trains, and it took us 8 hours. Like, so imagine the shape of Germany. We're up here. We had to go all the way down.
all the way.
here.
Yeah. And Germany's big.
Yeah. I mean, beautiful train ride. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. I couldn't really enjoy it though because I was tripping balls half the time because, I was the one in charge for 3 of my other colleagues. And then so I was on the phone, with Hong Kong office with my PA at the time. And I was like, look, I don't know if I'm going to make my connection.
Yeah.
So just be on the lookout that we may have to rebook. So like every few hours, I'm just calling in, checking in. And, I saw some beautiful farmland, and then I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, we're done. This is it. You're not gonna make it
This
anymore.
is it. I gotta run. Look
Yeah.
at my watch. Yeah, man, good times.
Yeah, but trains are good. High speed rail's fun here. Like
Yeah.
it's really chill. It's like tickets are not bad. Like there's actually an outlet mall in Taoyuan area, and it's the best way to get there. No lie, if you don't have a car, is to take the high speed rail because it's like here to like the next like take the Taipei Main and then it cuts
Yeah.
over to like Benchao, which is the next stop, which is just really close, just right across the river, and it's like 3-4 minutes. Boom, you're there.
Right.
All underground. It's an underground tunnel there. And then you go there, and then it's the one that goes out and then goes to the like closest to the airport, which is
Right.
where the outlet mall is, and then it starts heading south. So it kind of leaves Taipei, goes over, then just starts heading down. And you can take the train there, and it's only like $12 or something. It's pretty cheap US. And you could do that little short trip, or I think it's $12 round trip. But anyway, you can do that, and it's so much faster. You take the MRT, like the subway, and it's like an
Yeah.
hour. It's like 45 minutes to an hour to get to the same
Right.
spot.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
15 or 20 minutes and just a little bit more. And it's like, oh, this is so good. And it literally drops you off like at the front door of like this big outlet
Nice.
mall. So you can go do
Nice.
that, hit that up. There's like an aquarium out there and a bunch of other stuff, and you can come back.
Like a day trip out of it.
So you don't always have to use the high-speed rail for
Yeah.
shorter
Intercity
trips,
travel. Right,
city
yeah,
travel.
yeah.
Yeah, you can like these are little trips, like I guess tricks you can learn once you start living somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, there's also other things too. Like, for example, I wouldn't call it like, because Hong Kong itself has a pretty extensive train, like rail and subway network. But another little interesting factoid about Hong Kong is we have a lot of outlying islands. And one of the fun things that, you can do as a day trip is actually you can take some of these large ferries to go to some of these small outlying islands that still have a lot of the touristy, traditional kind of fishing village, kind of hipster kind of vibe to it, outlying islands from like central, basically from
okay.
downtown. So imagine like a 30-minute ride, nice ferry. When it's not so hot, it's actually quite enjoyable. And and then you're at a really nice kind of chill place. You're still surrounded by a bunch of people, but it's an alternative way to get around as well. Like, as I know, in the Philippines, the ferry ride is one of their big means of like long distance transport.
That and then the city, those bus things they have.
Oh yeah.
What are those things called? I
Those
forget.
school buses that they kind of trick out.
It's like they cut the back off so it's open air and you're sitting in the back on
They
a
have
bench
name
seat.
for that.
They have
Yeah.
a bench seat for it. I gotta look this thing up. What's it
Yeah.
called?
They all have these crazy designs, and they're absolutely beautiful. I rode in one. I rode in a couple, and it's just like the most. For me, I thought it was a really cool experience. Everybody else just looked at me like, "Man, you're crazy.
They call
You're
it
such a tour
Jeepanese.
cheapanese."
Jeepanese.
Oh,
GEP, like Jeep, like
yeah.
a Jeep. NEYS.
Oh,
Jeepanese.
Japanese.
And in
Interesting.
Filipino, it's called Dipini. Deepini. DYIPNI. Or Deep. There's sometimes
Yes,
deep, which is just the word
that's
for
it.
Jeep.
I was about
But
to say
yeah, they
like,
always paint them up wild and crazy. They've got normally they have this huge crazy bumper on the front that looks like you could drive through a brick wall, like Mad Max style.
yes, I was about to say it's like a super colorful Mad Max.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's totally, and then they have like a big Mercedes emblem on the front
Yeah,
or something. They look like it's just the wildest thing. And it like, you just gave, basically you gave a kid like
yeah,
10 buckets of different colored paint and said, hey, go paint this thing.
yeah. Go
You know,
wild,
he runs
go
out and goes,
wild.
and that's
Yeah,
really what they look like.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
totally wild and tricked out.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
And
Yeah.
usually see like 8 or 10 people jammed in the back. It's all open air. There's like no windows, no nothing.
Hmm.
And you're just stuffed in there.
Yeah, so definitely, inner city travel, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
And definitely I would highly recommend, like, if you're out here in Asia, try to look for some of these. Like, I would consider it like a more older way of transportation instead
Yeah.
of, like, planes or trains. Hit up some of the jeepneys and, like, the ferries and stuff, like the trams and stuff like that. I
Or
think
if
you'll.
you're really scared, you can always Uber it. You know, make sure Uber's
Yeah,
available.
true.
Like I said,
Yeah, you can
Philippines, they
always
don't do
Uber it.
Uber, but Grab is
Yeah.
available instead. Um, Tip on the Philippines. They do have Grab, but it's a scooter.
Oh,
No lie.
really?
I never did this.
Oh my God.
No lie. You could book it and a guy rolls up on a scooter. And their scooters are kind of like a mix of this hybrid off-road looking thing, like an off-road
Yes.
bike-ish thing. And he's got an extra helmet. He's like, get on the back. And you hop. I've watched this. I'm like, is that a Grab? He's got like a Grab helmet on, but
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
like you jump on the back and you hold on to some stranger and they
Yeah.
drive you around through traffic on their freaking motorcycle.
Are you ready? Let's go. It's time to go. We are
Yeah.
going to your hotel.
Yeah, no thanks. No.
Yeah. Dude,
No.
it's one of those, like, just do it once. Just,
Yeah.
sounds like,
Yeah.
hey, Stu. All right. Sounds like your Tinder date, your first Tinder date in Taiwan.
Bro, it sounds like you should have swiped left. So,
Oh, man.
but
Good
yeah,
times.
and speaking of getting around on your own wheels,
Yes.
this is probably your more advanced lesson, I guess, in getting around.
Yeah.
Once you're ready, or depending on where you are, unlike the West, where it's fairly easy when you travel just to get a rental car, even in Europe. And yeah, get your own vehicle. Get your
Yeah.
own driver's license and do it. Now, you don't always have to have your own driver's license. So, a lot of countries, Taiwan included, if you go ahead before you leave your home country, like the US, the UK, you can get an international driver's license.
Yes.
In the US, it's handled by AAA. So you'll go to the local AAA office. They'll get your driver's license. They have a piece of paper. You pay them like $20 or $30 US. They do a couple stamps on it, and you bring it with you. Boom, you're
Yep.
done. When you land, it has the same length of time as your landing visa does, essentially.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for like 90 days here.
90 days, something like
Yeah.
that.
So, and you can drive around. Now in Taiwan, though, we drive on the same side of the road as the US does. Unlike you, you're the same side
Yeah,
of the
I
road
know.
that UK and
As the
Japan's on.
UK.
You're on, yeah, you're right-hand
We're on,
drive.
yeah, right-hand drive.
So you're on the left-hand side of the road. I'm left-hand drive, so I'm on the right-hand side of the road. So for me, it was second nature, being here. Now, just because you can drive doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, I know. Just
The city traffic here.
$1 million statement right there.
So, Mark, I
let
want
me
to ask
just-
you before we dive down this rabbit hole, what do you think's worse, concerning I've seen both too. Taiwan traffic or Hong Kong traffic?
I think they're about the same. Like, if you're talking about Taipei and Hong Kong, I think you're looking at about the same.
Yeah.
I think mannerisms would also be about the same.
Like lines are a mere suggestion.
Well, lines are mere suggestions. Everybody's in too big of a hurry for their own good, Like, no one is in that big of a hurry, right? Like, you don't need to, how do I put it? So in Hong Kong, let me give you a good example of my statement just now.
You're having to
Because
think
I
your
think
words through here.
I have to set this up, right? So the statement was, nobody is in that big of a hurry. The reason why I say this is, so when we're driving back out west, especially like down the south where we are, everybody's super nice to each other, right?
Right.
You hit the signal, your turn signal, and you need to merge. If
Mm-hmm.
there's someone behind you, they're not going to come and ride your butt and push you to turn,
No.
right? They'll like, look, no one is in that big of a hurry. Once you hit your signal, check, you feel good, merge.
Yeah.
They will work with you. Here, you hit that signal. If you look in your mirror and you see that guy slow down for half a second and you don't pump that gas and turn and merge, oh, they're riding right back on your butt.
Yeah.
Right? That is it. You have that half a second to make your intent to merge. And if you don't, well, too bad. Sucks to be you.
I found I'm like, not to jump too far ahead. I found that, I have a license here, that I will change lanes at the same time I'm hitting my signal. Like, I'm like, it's like one process, like, here comes the signal and my wheel's already going. Like, it's like, hey, I'm coming whether you want. Because I've also found here, a lot of times you get your signal, people are like, no way. That's my spot.
Yeah.
And they'll.
Yes, that's so true. That is so true. Yeah, they, a friend of mine, we were having a discussion about this as he was driving me back. I was like, oh, bro, man, you're terrible. You never use your signals. He said, well, the reason why is because when he used to drive in New Zealand, he always uses signals and stuff like that. But when he came back to Hong Kong, when they hit the signal, suddenly this guy would come back and start riding him. And he's like, you're exactly right. This is my spot. I'm not going to give it to you. Right. And suddenly the person just comes up. So I know it sounds super rude, but if you got to merge, hit that signal, just do a quick shoulder check and go. Right. And if you don't feel comfortable with just almost borderline driving like a jerk, this may not be.
If you the thing is here, it's if you hesitate, you lose.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because like a couple things I've learned. I've been on the road for like 8 months now here. Now, my history in driving, I grew up in the States, so I got my license at 16, had my permit at 15. I've driven everything. I had a 40-foot RV. I've had trucks with 28-foot trailers behind it. I've driven a lot of stuff. Everything shy of a semi. But I mean, I drove something the exact same size as the city bus, and I probably did 35 or 40,000 kilometers or 30 or 45,000 miles.
So your RV?
Yeah, my RV, right? So all over the country. Like I've put some serious wheel time in behind vehicles. And it's always been pretty chill. I've had some close calls. Of course, I've been in a couple small accidents in my life. It happens, right?
Of course.
I feel like I'm a fairly experienced driver. I get here, and it took me a few years at least to get the guts up to even consider this. Like,
for sure.
Three plus?
For sure.
Before I was like, okay, maybe it's time now. Just looking at the traffic, it's not just the cars, it's the massive scooters here. Like, they swarm around you, like, just, you're just in front, and they're inches from your bumper. And when you go to change lanes, like, I have to, like, kind of just get halfway into a lane, wait for that scooter, and then get in between scooters. Because the scooters are supposed to be in the outer lane.
Yeah.
The far right.
They don't care.
Yeah, but they don't care. They'll be all
That's
over.
a suggestion.
Yeah, they'll be in the far left lanes. And then when you're at a traffic light, they kind of weave through. I've had my like mirrors hit so many times by scooters, like trying to like weave through, like dunk, like, and they're driving super slow. They're like, oh, sorry. I'm like, it's interesting. It's very interesting. The differences, because like I said, I've seen people drive 10 kilometers under the speed limit, straddling the white stripe line. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm like,
my God. Oh yeah, they do that here.
Pick a lane, left lane or right lane.
Also, I find so we don't have the same issue with the scooters here, but what Hong Kong has an issue is, comparatively, Hong Kong is an old city.
Yeah,
and all of the roads were pre-established by the Brits when cars weren't this big, there weren't this many, and they weren't this they weren't everywhere, they weren't this fast. True. So we deal with a lot of relatively smaller roads that are quite windy.
So very like
And
European style driving.
yeah, like they're quite, because they follow these old road grids. There's lines you see on that just don't make sense, right? And so that's the problem we have here. And the second thing is like it's a strange phenomenon. How people here drive is, when you have a long turn, a lot of people here, like, they don't hold the turn, right? They will go straight into the turn, and when the apex comes, they just turn at the apex. So it feels very jerky the whole time.
Yeah, they're just like,
right? Yeah, it's
yeah,
like
they're doing that.
they'll go
yeah.
straight, and then they'll hit this weird long turn. You're like, what? Friends of mine do this, and I always look at it. I'm like, man, how long you been driving, bro? Come on.
Yeah, I think it's just that, like, did you grow up driving that style? I mean,
Yeah,
I grew up in the West,
that's
right?
very true. Yeah, that's
so,
very true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little different. I will say this: the differences between the West and here, in my experience in Taiwan, is the things that would have caused a road rage here, like absolutely hardcore. And I see Nelson's in chat. Nelson and I have had a talk about this. The things that would have caused a hardcore road rage fight, like odds are we're getting out of the car, we're going, man. Like that level fight. Here, it's just every day it happens. It's just, and it's just chill. No one gets upset. No one gets upset. It's like, I gotta cut you off. I'm gonna do this. I'll talk to my mirror. I'm like, oh, hey, nice driving, jerk. Like, haha.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
keep
about
going.
it. Ha 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 ha. Yeah.
But in the States, I'd be like,
for you.
The same thing would make you rage, or would cause someone to rage on you.
Yeah.
I think everyone here it's accepted, so it's not something that
true.
causes an argument.
Yeah.
Of course, it's pretty funny if I have like the window rolled down and people like, I pull up to a traffic light and they look over and they see me and they're like,
yeah.
I get so many weird looks.
Oh yeah.
Do you know how few foreigners drive here?
Oh yeah. Same. Same thing. So
I don't think I've seen but maybe 2 or 3 ever in my entire 8 months of being here. Actually, my entire time being here, I've only seen 2 or 3 other foreigners behind the wheel of a car. Period.
So, what's the process for you guys to do a driver's license there?
Okay.
Because so you go first, and I'll talk about the process here.
So, for me, they do have a driver's, if you want to do it the proper way, you have 4 different tiers of driver's licenses. You have you have the under 50cc scooter, which I think is a pretty easy to go test. Anybody can get it.
Yeah.
You have your up to 200cc, I think, is the number now, 180 or 200. That's what most people have. It's the white plate scooter. The under 50 is a green plate scooter. Then you have what they call heavy bike. There's the smaller heavy bike, which is 200 or 250cc up to 450 or 600. It's somewhere in that range.
Unnecessarily.
It's a yellow plate. It's a yellow plate. And then there's the red plate, which is the red plate heavy bike, which is I think it's 600cc and over. Heavy bike, those are your normal motorcycles, right? Now there is a reason behind this.
Yeah.
The scooters are limited to certain roads and certain streets.
Oh, right. Okay, makes sense.
The yellow can go on I think some highways, but the major freeways, like the 1, the 3, the 5, major numbers here, you have to be a car or a heavy bike.
Right.
So red plate,
makes sense.
Red plate only, or that.
Yeah.
So when you're a red plate motorcycle, which I think you have to have a year of scooter license under your belt before you can even test for your red plate bike.
Right.
And then when you're on red plate bikes can park in a proper, and same with yellow plate bikes, can park in a proper car parking spot.
Oh, okay.
Versus the scooter spots that are around. There are some limitations, some differences.
Okay.
But for driving here, my experience is different, and I'll explain mine. But you do have to. Well, I see people. They do a driving test. They
you're written and teacher.
They do. They have some driving centers around here that have you practice roads.
Really?
They're very elaborate.
Sorry, no, we have those
train
here,
tracks and lights, and they wet the road, and they have all kinds. It's very elaborate, and you go and you.
We have those here too. But those are the ones you stay away from, because those people who come out can't drive.
Yeah.
Anyways, neither here nor there.
So anyway, yeah, they do that, and you got to go. You take a driver's test, and
Yeah.
you go through the same as I think as you, same as everywhere. You have a proctored driver's test or written driver's test.
Yeah.
You go through the process. For me, I'm lucky. In here, there's like 6 or 7 states in the U.S. that have a full reciprocity driver's license deal. So for me, I don't know why Tennessee's on the list. I couldn't tell you of all the states, Tennessee's like one of the 7. But it's a literally, I had to get my driver's license notarized at the AIT, which is like not the embassy here. And, but it's the embassy. American Institute of Taiwan.
It is not the embassy.
It's not the embassy, but
not
it's the embassy. And you go get notarized there, and then you just take it in. And they go, okay, thank you. And then they take a picture of it, and they write your license for you, and you walk out the door.
Pay up, and you're good to go.
And you're good to go. Yeah. Another thing, if you have a California driver's license, they are interchangeable with Taiwan. You do not have to get a Taiwanese driver's license, and vice versa. So if you have a Taiwan driver's license, you can drive indefinitely in California. You can get off the plane, go rent a car, and you're fine. And the same works here. California is the only state in the U.S. that has that deal.
Wow.
So like a California driver's license is like having a Taiwan driver's license. You have to. You don't even have to turn it in. You don't have to.
Who would have thunk?
I know. So it's pretty cool. So yeah.
Yeah. So in Hong Kong, we have a pretty similar system. So you just kind of choose your class of vehicle you want to drive. Usually, like for example, you can do like a light goods vehicle, which is usually manual transmission, and that'll give you a license for an automatic car, a private car, light goods vehicle, and manual transmission. So you have 4 different qualifications you can do. Mm-hmm. Or you can just kind of do what I did and just go for an automatic.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times, number one, most of the new cars are coming out nowadays. Sadly, they're doing away with the manual. And once you go to other countries, a lot of times they don't have this restriction on, you're only allowed to drive an automatic.
It's funny. Right? We have the same thing here. I forgot to tell you, there is a manual and an automatic.
Yeah. So of course you go through a written, and then of course your practical and your written test. But then, yes, they also have these driving academies here that they're also very elaborate. They have their own overpass kind of on, parking areas, and it's very elaborate, right? They're guaranteed that you will pass your first time, your first test, and you will pass it. But the problem is, those people are so they've learned how to drive in such a controlled environment that the rate of accidents of those people coming out of those driving academies are like through the roof. So there's the best way for people to do it here is to hire a private driving instructor. And he'll take you on the road, show you the ropes, teach you how to pass the test. And if you don't have any driving background, he'll also coach you up to teach you how to actually drive.
Is that what you did?
Really good. Well, because I already know how to drive, right?
Right. You come from the States.
Exactly.
So but it's the different side of the road.
Background. Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing, right? So I didn't have too much of an issue adjusting.
Okay.
Like it never really caused me too many issues, and like kind of just sitting down, I had more of a difficult time kind of sitting behind a wheel again, kind of messing with my pedals and where my hand placement, because I suddenly had to go back to 10 and 2. I had to make sure my foot was placed right. It's been so long since I sat behind the wheel of a car. Again, you never forget, but it's just been such a long time. I'm like, okay, well, don't give it the beans, and just calm down a little bit. Remember to use the brake. So that's basically what I did. So however, one good thing about Hong Kong is it doesn't have the restrictions that you guys have in Taiwan. So that means as long as you have a valid driver's license that's not expired, that is still valid, and you're a permanent resident or you have residency, a Hong Kong ID card, you can actually pay money to get it directly transferred over.
Okay.
Anywhere in the world, as long as a valid driver's license. You fill it out, you check the documentation that you have, you give it to the transportation department, you pay $900 Hong Kong, and voila, same day, boom, you get your Hong Kong driver's license.
So I guess that makes sense for such an Hong Kong is such an international business city
Yeah.
that I guess that does. There's some logic behind that. I can understand why they would do that.
But then we also have the same like kind of phenomenon as you have over there. Like there's not a lot of expats here who drive. I mean,
Hmm.
there is a large expat community here,
Oh yeah,
but
I'm sure way bigger than
the
here.
the expat community here that drives is usually the older folks, like people that are maybe my dad's age or older than you even. And then
Older than me, even.
I'm
Thanks.
just saying, you know. Look, man, you're like 2 years older than me, so it's all good.
I think it's a
right?
few more than two, but okay, we'll keep going.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Because the reason why I said that was like the moment I said like, oh, they're older than my dad, and I'm like, I don't want to imply that you are the same age as my dad. So how am I going to make this sound good? So that's kind of my brain process. Anyways, so
Daga,
no,
right?
so
That's it.
yeah. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Let me put my foot on my mouth. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, you don't see a whole lot of younger people or like that are driving. That are expats on the road. Yeah. Okay.
He's that Professor X.
You know what? I should have just kept it at my dad. I should have just kept it there.
But that said, really, I don't ever see foreign guys driving or anybody foreign driving like that I'm aware of. Like I'll occasionally see a foreigner on a scooter.
You're like,
I'm like, oh,
the
yeah,
Spider-Man meme.
yeah. But like in a car, I don't. It's super rare. I mean, really rare. Because I don't know. I think it's just intimidating because how crazy the traffic is here.
That is true.
Because you come from the West, it is not the same. I mean, like some of the people in chat here, like Stu and some others that are here,
Private Bumpkin
would definitely attest to it. Like it's pretty wild. It's pretty crazy.
But with that said, though, I mean, don't let it discourage you from wanting to drive here. I mean, because to be honest, there are some places, like for example, Okinawa, right? If you want to see Okinawa or even Kyushu area, if you want to see these beautiful places, it's pretty important that you can drive because their rail or train network is only within those greater cities or greater metropolitan areas, like for example Okinawa, right? So it's best that if you do have an international driver's license, or if your license is valid in whatever country, it's okay. It's not like the 80s where everybody's gonna hit you and you have oncoming traffic in the wrong lane. Okay, it's not that bad. It's just like all the things they teach you how to be like a courteous driver in the West, throw that out the window. Just drive really aggressive and it'll be okay because that's how they do it here.
Yeah, I think Nelson said it best. He goes, the things we do here, speaking of Taiwan, the things we do here on a daily basis would get someone shot in the States. And that's
close enough.
Probably the most true statement I've heard when it comes to the difference.
Yeah.
I don't get mad on the road enough near Atlanta. I mean, I tell you, Atlanta traffic's pretty rough too. I'm not gonna lie. Atlanta's pretty.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's why I'm surprised. Like, oh, you'll let the Californian drivers drive in Taiwan?
But I will say this: after living here and knowing that the Taiwan license works in California, it explains a lot of how I see some of the traffic in California. I'm like,
yeah, I know. Okay. I'm like, ugh. So I don't think that's a net positive.
I think you're flying back and forth. You go visit some family. You're like, I'll take the family car out. My license works. That explains a lot. Yeah.
I do not think that that's a net positive for anyone.
No,
at least maybe on this side of the world.
Maybe come in this direction, but go in the other direction. No.
Like, look, man, I'm just gonna say, when we were there for SHOT Show, and one of our colleagues, day job stuff, one of our colleagues, she has never left Asia before in her life. And the first place she goes to is Las Vegas. And of course, how we're going to go there, we're going to fly into LA and we're going to drive to Vegas.
Wait, so you're
So,
gonna fly, do the Cajon Pass, drive up, do the desert run.
yeah, yeah, but you still got to deal with the stupidity that's Los Angeles,
Oh,
right?
the traffic.
Oh
If she
my
flows
God.
into LAX, you got to get
Yeah.
out of LAX. You're not free and clear till you get up the Cajon Pass. I mean, that's
Yeah.
it.
I mean, to be honest, like in, we were staying in El Segundo. So, I
Mhm.
mean, it was not that bad, but to be honest, like leaving El Segundo, we were routed kind of like onto the PCH for a little bit before we turned into the desert. That's how the GPS routed
So it
us.
took you up and then over.
Yeah.
So you went up to
So
SGV. Was it
yeah,
SGV or was it SGV? San Gabriel
yeah,
Valley.
we went through Bakersfield area.
But yeah, you eventually go. Yeah, you got to get
Yeah,
up. So you either
yeah,
go Cajon Pass or you go you go north straight up out of like DTLA. You go up and then you cut across like Edwards Air Force Base
yeah,
over
yeah.
to
That's
Victorville.
yeah,
So
exactly,
somehow you end up at
exactly.
Victorville and then you head on out. So
Yeah, exactly. So it's so funny because we were going there, and then she sees these people just driving like just crazy, and like she's like, "Wow, I thought it was like, you know, I thought people would drive better over here." And I'm like, how do I explain
yeah, it's like
this?
how do I start this conversation?
Oh
Not sound
wow,
like a
because like
jerk.
the whole time she was sitting next to me, I was like, "Oh, that's the Sierra Nevada, the Sierra, we was talking about all this beautiful, beautiful stuff." She's like, "Oh, it's so nice," and then like she's like, "Wow, this driving here, people just like, how?" I'm like,
LA,
let's
I'll tell you,
ignore that.
SoCal driving, man. It's either bumper to bumper traffic or you're doing 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, yeah,
And then if you're doing 95, you're getting passed by a police officer. By the way, the speed limit's like probably 70. You're doing 25 miles an hour over, so which is like 38 kilometers, 40 kilometers over the speed limit.
yeah,
And you're still getting your doors blown off by a motorcycle cop. Like, yeah.
yeah, man. It was an interesting experience for me trying to explain this to somebody else, and for her that she's never been before.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know, man. I'll
is,
tell you,
it
the
is
first
what
time
it
to the
is.
States, I know people that are like, well, I went to the States before. I'm like, that's cool. Where'd you go? I went to Los Angeles and then to Vegas. I'm like, oh, you've never been to the U.S.
You've never been to
Well, no,
America.
I've been to America. No, that's not
No.
That's not America. That's
Yeah, yeah.
no, no.
That's the equivalent of saying, "Oh yeah, I've totally been to Japan. I mean, Haneda Airport is awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Narita is like, oh man, it's such a legit airport."
It's like Vegas is like, I don't know. That's definitely not indicative to what America's
No,
like.
no, no.
So, but yeah, it's a totally different topic for a different
Yeah,
day.
that's for a
we could
different
go down
day.
that path.
So while we're still on this final last legs of this driving thing, so if you got to choose one place that you can road trip, where would it be?
Man, I'm telling you, dude, there's so many great U.S. road trips. There's so many places I haven't been. Yeah, I've never been to the Grand Canyon, believe it or not. I've been to so many national parks. I've been to 48 states. And I still haven't been to the Grand Canyon. I haven't done Mount Rushmore.
What about like this side of the world?
This side of the world, oh man, I would like to do maybe an up and down Japan, like north to
Yeah,
south,
good
south,
choice.
like
Good
south,
choice.
south and north to back. I think
Yes.
that's a big enough country where you could have like a real proper like
Yeah, like a
climate
good
change.
road trip. Yeah.
I think just Japan would be beautiful to see by car all the way up. That'd be good. Let's see where else. I mean, I don't know. Like some of the roads would be rough. I think south to north Vietnam run would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be nice.
There's some
Thailand
caves.
would be cool too, I
There's some
think.
caves halfway up Vietnam on the coast that I've been wanting to go to. It's like it's like one of the largest caves in the world, and I want to
yeah.
go do that. It's like a bucket list thing for me. I forget the name of
Right.
it. I gotta Google
Is it kind of like close to Halong Bay area?
No, it's like Halong Bay's up here. 'Cause that's what Hanoi, right?
Oh,
and then
yeah,
Ho Chi
yeah,
Minh
yeah,
City's
yeah.
down here. It's like split the difference. It's in no man's
Right.
land.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah,
I'll
I
look up
think
the name
like
of it.
what I would love to do is
Hang Sun Dung
oh, okay.
is the name of the cave, and it has its own beach inside of it. If you
Oh.
Google it, it's like unbelievable. You just Google a picture of Hang Hang Sun Son Dong with two O's, Doong. It is absolutely, I think it's the world's largest cave. It's called Sundung Cave.
Oh yeah, I see it. Let's see. Oh my God,
The pictures, yeah, man, it's just,
dude, it's like a different planet.
yeah, it looks like something like you'd see dinosaurs in there, right?
Oh yeah, like Journey to the Center of the Earth kind of
Uh-huh.
stuff.
Uh-huh. Like, so for
Dude, and it's got
me,
like waterfall inside.
yeah. So this is like one of my bucket list. Like, I really, really, really,
Oh,
really
dude, it
want to
does
go.
have its own beach on the inside.
I'm not
Jesus.
lying. It really legit has a sandy beach inside
Yeah,
the cave.
it does. Oh my God, it's got a beach inside the cave.
You thought I was joking.
No, I thought it. No, I just didn't. To be honest, I didn't know what I was expecting. I thought it was like gonna be like a small little kind of like beach. No, oh my God, this is like a beach.
You can fly a
beach.
helicopter in there. So yeah, it's literally like if you look at the map, if you like click the map and you do, yeah, and that's not even like an awesome picture. Like the other direction
Yeah.
is,
So
and that's
this
inside
is
the cave,
this is
by the way.
in the cave, by
Yeah.
the way.
That's not the water up to the cave. That's actually literally
That is
inside
in the cave.
Yeah.
Jeez,
So if you look at Vietnam, it's like halfway down the country.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So it would have to be you got to do either the boat tour and then you get off there, and you have
Dude,
to
this is where Gandalf battled the Balrog.
right.
Okay.
And that's in the cave.
That's crazy, guys. Look at this.
So that's one of my bucket list places for sure.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
So-
You know, for me, I would love to drive around Bali. I would love to drive Bali because it's got such a like a little bit of, like got this Hawaiian vibe to it, you know? And like I would love to also drive around Hawaii, right? You know, who wouldn't?
Mm-hmm.
Get a nice
done that.
car.
I
Convertible,
did
you
the
know?
Oahu circle
Oh yeah.
around the island. Yeah. I would love to do it in a Jeep though.
Mm.
And it was like a rainy, crappy day, and I was sick. It was I literally flew to Hawaii post shot show, and that year I had the
Ew.
shot show funk. Yeah, I got the shot show funk that year, so I got like the cold/flu/ whatever you get at shot show. Right, I was miserable.
The OG COVID.
The OG COVID, yeah, like
The OG COVID.
So I would like the day shot show was over. I flew back to Tennessee.
Yeah.
I landed at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and then the next morning at 6 a.m. was my flight to Hawaii. It was, I mean, like,
Oh,
that.
gross. Yeah. Yeah, that would be another one, like the loop around Oahu, and because I always wanted to do like rent a nice car, like rent a Porsche Boxster, top down.
Dude,
and
go to the
just-
North Shore
just
and
go.
chill out there, sit with go get some seafood at one of those little seafood carts or like little food trucks they have, get some grilled shrimp, watch the surfers surf on the North Shore. I would love to go back and do that. Love
If
to go
you've
back.
already done Hawaii, which 2 states have you not been to?
North Dakota and hold on, somewhere in the Northeast. Not Vermont. It's New Hampshire.
New Hampshire?
It's weird. I missed it. Like I was up there and I just didn't go to it.
You would imagine it would have been Alaska and Hawaii.
Oh no! Wait, no. I take it back. Hey, wait, no. I did do New Hampshire. Wait, hold on. I did 3 then. I have 3 I'm missing. Did I do New Hampshire? I did Massachusetts. No. Okay, here it is. Maine,
Yes.
North Dakota, Alaska. Those are my 3.
Oh,
It's
dude,
3.
Alaska would be another
It's
awesome
47.
place.
Yeah. So those 3 are my 3 that I have not hit. So I did hit New Hampshire. So had to go and look.
Yeah,
So,
fair enough.
eh.
Yeah. Alaska would be another awesome place to do a road trip.
Yeah.
Just, oh, good God. So beautiful.
Never been. You have to go in the summer because it could be almost impassable in the winter. So.
I want to go in the winter.
Well, I missed a chance. The company I used to work for, we had one of our clients' locations was there in Anchorage, and I had an open invite from the guy that ran the place. He was kind of like an avid, like kind of our outdoorsy guy, gun guy. All he's like, come on up. He goes, it's August, it's salmon season. You got to come fishing with me.
Oh,
I'm like,
yes.
yeah. And every time I was time to go, he invited me. I always had work, right? I couldn't get away.
Right.
I kept trying to get up there to go, find an excuse to peel away and just go and do like a week up there and just just go salmon fishing for a week, right? That
Yes.
would have been
Oh my
so
God,
awesome.
that'd be
But
so
no,
awesome.
I
That
know.
would be so awesome. Salmon fishing in Alaska. I don't know what could be more just like I don't know, like one of those like outdoorsman's kind of a dream is to go salmon fishing in Alaska or like go shoot a deer up in Alaska. Like
Yeah,
just to go there and just do that. I think just once I'll be
because you
like,
can bring the meat back. It's in the
oh yeah,
states, right? You
oh
pack
yeah,
it
that's
up, you
right.
put in,
Yeah,
you
pack it
check the
up.
luggage, and you can check it in there with ice, and when you
Yep,
land, you got your food,
that's
right?
right. That's right. That's right. So oh, Ho Ching Young was wondering what happened last week. So what
Yeah.
happened last week was
While you're talking,
I
I'm
had
gonna
some
go get a refill. So
okay, you do that, you do that. So what happened last week was I had some life things to deal with. Nothing serious. I just had to go deal with the Hong Kong Transportation Department because I had to go get my driver's license. So I had some practice driving to do, and just the time conflicted with our show. So instead of having Jono doing a solo show or trying to move it around certain days, we decided to just kind of, we'll postpone last week's episode for today. And today we've been talking nothing but transportation and traveling on, trains and stuff like that. And of course, driving. Yes. Oh, wow.
So,
Is this
just in
like
case you're
nine?
wondering what the alcohol percentage was on this,
Oh, I was about to say, is
nine
that
point.
like 9.99% juice?
No. Let me see if I get to focus. Yep. And
Bravo.
but I love the name of it.
God bless Yuzu.
God bless Yuzu. They have
Very
like the
nice.
best names. This is Taihu again. By the
Very
way,
nice.
Misaki, if you're still in chat, have you seen these before?
Is that like carbonated peach liqueur?
Yeah, it's carbonated peach liqueur. They also have a mandarin orange one that's I had, and it's, dude, the producer and I had the mandarin orange one. It is absolutely the most amazing tasting thing you have ever drank in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got this. The peach one here, is it a sake? I don't know. I've never have you seen this thing before. We just got them in.
It just looks like it has carbon in it. Like it's
It
carbonated.
is. It's fizzy. Yeah.
And like it's peach, and then I see peach liqueur carbonated.
And it's
That's
like
what the kanji
50%
says.
fruit juice. It is. It's like fruit. It's like fruit. It's like fruit puree. It's
yes.
unbelievably good. Like the mandarin
yeah,
one is
yeah,
like
yeah.
I've never had anything like that in my life. And I got the orange one. I was like, and they had a peach one. Producer and I grabbed it. I'm saving that for later. I'm not going to crack that one open. This is
Do that.
This
Yeah.
is this.
So when I was there with Masaki actually brought me to Takeshimaya. I think it was not Takeshimaya. We were just finished the sake tasting, and it was kind of right during the tail end of peach season. And then they had the concentrated bottle of the peach liqueur. Is that good? Tasting notes, please. Yuzu.
Yuzu beer.
Oh,
Yuzu
nice.
beer. And I mean
But
beer.
it's not
beer.
like Taiwan
Like,
beer style, right?
no,
it's
no,
not
no,
like
no, no.
just add-
It's like Yodzu and like an IPA underneath.
Oh, nice.
But it's not like IPA with Yodzu flavor. It's Yodzu flavor with an IPA.
That's how it should be done.
Yeah, like this is it, and it's freaking 10%. Well, no, 9.99.
9.99.
So,
Yeah, so getting back to that, so Masaki actually took us to a place that had the bottle of the liqueur, the peach, and then the yuzu or like the tangerine liqueur, and they had all the puree still in it. So what Masaki told me was like, you can actually mix it yourself, which you just put a little bit of ice and you pour the liqueur in there, and then you just take what's that, soda water. Or
yeah, like a seltzer
tonic,
water. Yeah,
or tonic, and then you just pour it in there and you mix your own. And then I swear to God, I think I drank when I came back to Hong Kong with that bottle. I think I drank that whole bottle that night.
Didn't last.
It could not last.
It's gone.
Masaki, it was the same trip when we were at Harushika, and we ordered a bunch. We ordered a bunch of sake, and we had it delivered back to my hotel room. That was the same trip. So.
What Umeno Yado fruit line? So he says in chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I know is, man,
Ume,
these
ume
I'm looking
no.
forward to like having
Oh
this.
yeah, don't.
I don't even like peach, and I know it's gonna be good.
Yeah, man.
But if you come to Taiwan, I'm not gonna lie, man. This brewery's got their act together. Um, they like it's weird. Like their instructions are in English.
Nice.
Like they're whoever these people are, they're getting ready for export. I mean, they really are. I want to like this to me would make an awesome YouTube video. Like once we start getting around, the
Oh
brewery is
yes.
actually in Nangang area, so it's really close. It's outside of Taipei, and it's I think would be a really cool place to go and show like a brewer, like a
Yes.
proper what I would call Western style craft brewery. I've never been, so I really want to check it out. It'd be a cool little video to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That would be really cool. And we have to bring our hopped up field reporter, Masaki, along so he can give it the seal of
Yes.
approval.
Yes, exactly.
It has to be Masaki approved.
Yes. Always has to
All
be.
right. Yeah. All right. Guys, do you have any questions or what has chat been up to while we were talking about all this driving goodness and
Let's see.
transport?
Stu with his bad puns, he missed the main event as he puts his glasses on and
Private Bumpkin, yo, some local made peach moonshine. Can't read that word. So sugary sweet, it's as sticky as juice, but had good burn. Delicious. That sounds great just reading that sentence. I miss some good moonshine, to be honest.
you know what? I do too. Like I would
I
love
say
to
that,
bring
but I regret it after like 3 shots. But like,
I would love to
I
bring
do
like a
miss it.
proper like apple pie moonshine bag
Oh yeah,
and let
Yeah.
let like I think there's a lot of people that have never experienced like because you and I both are from the South, so
Yes.
we know the proper like a true moonshine. You get like a hardcore moonshine, which is like backwoods homemade corn whiskey, and it's
Mm-hmm. Right.
like off the charts alcohol, like it's maxed out. But then you,
You
mix
sniff
it
it,
down.
and you pass out.
Yeah. So what these people do is they mix it down and they have their own like flavors. So they make like like these different syrups and this different stuff to mix it. So they have like peach flavored apple pie. There's like cherry one. They're all good. I mean, they're awesome. And you can like usually if you have friends, you can like know where to get them and buy them.
Yeah.
And they come in mason jars, which is like
Yes.
a glass jar with a metal lid and it has like it's a canning jar. And you just buy the jar and they're like, oh yeah, I've got it in stock. It's this much money, and you just give the guy the cash and he gives you. I mean, it's like it's all like who you know.
Yeah, for real. For
Yeah.
real.
I mean, there's stores that sell some like actual liquor stores, but it's not the same. That's
It's
the
not the same.
commercialized.
It's not the same.
No,
Yeah, that's
no,
not the
no,
same.
no, no.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my favorite one was I had one that was like it was a cherry flavored moonshine, and it was so good. And it was like it was bright red. It was red as red can be, and it had the cherries inside until they pulled the cherry out, and the alcohol has sucked all the red out of the cherry. It was like green.
What? It pulled
Yeah.
all the color?
They pulled everything out of it. Like, to pull that cherry out, it was like a green colored cherry.
What?
Right? And so they poured it into a shot glass, and then they put the cherry in the shot glass. And so you take the shot, and it was, I don't know, it was some kind of evil. But, like, it tastes really good until you eat that cherry.
Oh, a cherry's probably at like the one cherry would get you drunk, like
yeah, like-
absolutely trashed.
You don't eat the cherry, you're like, oh man, I could knock down 6, 7, 8 of these. This is easy drinking until you bite into that cherry, and then like everything just, I mean, don't get me wrong, it does taste good, but then all the alcohol comes out. So then turns out is you eat the cherry and you chase it with the shot, not the other way around.
Ah,
Yes.
that's the trick. So yeah, spiked watermelon.
Spiked watermelon. Oh yeah, that's great.
I
My-
don't think anybody here knows about that.
Spiked
I'm-
watermelon.
I need to introduce some of the locals here to a spiked
Yeah.
watermelon.
Chat, people who live in Asia, do you know what a spiked watermelon is?
I've never heard it, I don't think anybody knows. I think this is very much a southern U.S. thing.
Give us your best guess what a spiked watermelon is, while we all read some of the other comments here. So they're saying that we should go do a Yamasaki tour
Yep.
in Japan.
Oh, I'm down.
Yeah,
Stu said road trip to
it's gonna
Cavalon.
happen.
I've done the Cavalon trip. It's a little. For someone who's done like Jack Daniels in America,
Right.
Cavalon's a little underwhelming.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like
Have
like
you been to you've been to the Appleton Estate in Jamaica?
did I go to Appleton? I think I did do Appleton in Jamaica. I
Okay.
think so. It's been like 20-ish years
Is it
ago.
gonna be like that level, or like I have to lower my expectations a little bit?
Like, no, get me wrong. Like, Cavalon makes some top tier stuff, man.
Oh yeah, for real.
Like, for real, like, world class, like, single malt stuff. But
Right.
their tour is, like, non existing. Like, really, it's not, it's like self guided. It's just nothing really that great.
Oh, okay. I think they got the guesses right
Yep.
for the spiked watermelon.
Yep. Ho Chi
That is
Young
exactly
and
what it
Stu,
is.
yeah, you both have it. Yeah, you poke the hole, you put the bottle in,
Yeah.
give it some time, let it transfer. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep it in the fridge
Yeah.
or freezer.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, my cousins would put it in his deep freeze.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He would cut a hole in the top of so these are my cousins in Canada. They would cut a hole in the top of the watermelon and take a bottle of Absolute and plug it in
Yeah,
there.
plug it in. Yeah. You
Right.
plug
Yeah.
the hole.
And then he would take that watermelon and put it in the freezer overnight, and then the next day he would pull it out. So pulls
Because
out the bottle,
The
and the
alcohol doesn't
watermelon's already.
freeze.
Yeah, it pulls out the bottle, but all the parts that is not alcoholic is kind of all hard and kind of icy. And it's super cold, and then so he just knocks it open like with a hammer, pop that open, and it just kind of opens up into the into the cooler. Yeah, and then so they just eat it out that way.
Interesting. Stu saying Sambuca jelly? No, thank you.
Ugh, no thanks.
It's like doing Sambuca or like Jaeger. Oh, Jaeger bomb.
Jaeger bombs, yes. Jaeger by
Jaeger
itself,
shots?
no.
No.
I've aged out of that.
In what world is that a good idea?
Sambuca, Jaeger, Bacardi
Wait,
151.
Goldschlager.
Yeah, look, man.
Shots.
I've aged out of this. Okay.
Bacardi 151.
So in Hong Kong,
Oh my god.
in Hong Kong, we have cheap over-the-counter whiskey, vodka, and gin called King Roberts.
It sounds
And
with a name
there-
like that. It sounds cheap.
It is just the worst thing ever. It's just rough, and but when you're young and stupid, underage, that's the dumb stuff you do. And so you buy a Mickey of King Roberts, and then you buy a 2 liter of Coke, and then you chug a little bit of the Coke, and you take your King Roberts and you pour it in your Coke, and then you shake it, and then you open it and spray all over yourself a little bit, and you laugh at your friends, and you just drink whiskey and Coke. And then you realize when you get older, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah. Like, what was I thinking? This is such a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess, yeah. Stu says to be old and wise, you have to survive the young and stupid part. Yeah.
That is very true.
Natural selection, right? You gotta.
That's right. That's right.
Well, he didn't
Moonshine
kill himself,
gummy bears.
so.
Yeah. Moonshine gummy bears do sound like a good idea.
They
Private
do, yeah.
Bucket.
But how would you do that? How can you make it strong enough? Because I don't think it'd stick together.
Dude, I had some champagne infused gummy bears, which were very nice.
There were some
Those
gummy bears in
very
Portland,
nice.
but they didn't have any alcohol in them.
Mitch gave me some candy before, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no.
He said he called it sweeties.
Sweeties.
I was okay. Scott wasn't so okay.
No names. No names.
But
Uh-huh.
hey, Scott is Scott, so
Yeah. Chasing rats.
Yes.
The
legend that he
So
is.
Centauri Nikki Whiskey Tour, yep. Yamazaki, yep. I think we need to do this.
Yeah, I mean,
The Centauri,
I think
I'll
once-
tell you, man, for the cheap whiskey here, it's hard to beat that bottle of Centauri you can get at
Oh
7-Eleven.
yeah, man. It looks
really is.
nice. It's a beautiful looking bottle. It's nice and smoky, and
Yeah.
it's so smooth,
It's
right?
cheap. Like
And it's so cheap.
for the same money, what you get in the States is just like rot gut. And here
Yeah.
you're like, oh, pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
It's just
You get that. Yeah. You get
Yeah.
that cheap bottle of Centauri whiskey. You drink it straight. Like cheap whiskey back in the States, or even cheap whiskey here that's not Centauri for
No.
that price. You better dilute it with something.
they always have some kind of like Scotch like Scotch Leader or Scott like they have some weird name stuff. I'm seeing like
Yeah.
like you said, like the King whatever. It's like
Yeah, King
it's
Roberts.
King Roberts. It's kind of like that stuff. Oh, the
Yeah.
hand grenades. Actually, I've never heard it called that. That's a really good description of what the bottle looks like. The hand grenade Centauri
yeah.
whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the donkey, the Don donkey here, and I bought a bottle for like a boat trip that we were gonna do, and I bought some canned carbonated lemonade because I just wanted to make a really super simple whiskey sour
Yeah.
without having to buy without having to get lemons and a bunch of shit. So,
Right.
whoops, bunch of stuff. So it's like,
Don't worry about it, man. We're drinking on this show. We're
Yeah,
not getting
anyways.
monetized. It's cool.
Anyway, so I got this, and then so I was with the producer and a bunch of friends. Producer's sister is like, tapped me on the shoulder. She's like, "So, are we drinking yet?" I'm like, "Girl, it's 9:30."
AM?
I'm like, "Yeah, in AM." I'm like, "Girl, it's 9:30," and she's like, "But do you need your breakfast first?" I'm like, "Jesus, all right, fine." My
Hey,
God.
you can drink in the morning just like what Private Bumpkin was doing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
got to be in
that's
your
very
coffee,
true.
though. It's got to be in
Yeah.
your coffee.
Oh,
It's
no,
the
no,
only
no.
acceptable way.
Yeah. She was like, no. She looked at me like, "Come on, old man. Like, what's she gonna do?" I'm like, "All right, man. My God,
Yeah.
don't bully me." So I pour a straight shot. Her and we have a shot. And we're like, "Man, this is really good." And so then I made her a whiskey sour. I had a whiskey sour. Then everybody wanted one.
Oh yeah, of course. Once you do go in, like, oh,
Yeah.
this is good. Then it's over, right?
Everybody wanted one, and that's the thing. That bottle was so good. It was gone in half an hour. And I think towards the end, people just wanted to drink it straight because it was such a light drinking, smoky flavored whiskey that wasn't offensive for like just the price point.
Right. It's a price point play. I mean, I think for the
Yeah.
money, it's probably the best bet. I mean, honestly,
Oh,
the best
yeah.
bet. Now,
yeah.
going to a football game, and we're not talking about soccer. Speaking with my American hat on, we're talking about American football. It's nothing but Jack and Coke, man.
Oh, but this is like the NFL though, right?
It can be any. I did it for my college years. Like,
Because
we went to college football.
because the SEC is still like no bringing alcohol into the thing. Dude, can you imagine if they sold alcohol in an SEC game?
We would
like,
sneak it in all the time, man. When I was in
they're
college, I'd be
already
like,
sneaking it in.
I wasn't SEC, it was OVC. So OVC.
Your team is like what? The Volunteers?
Well, so no, I went to school two different places. I started my college years in MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University. So
Right.
it was Ohio Valley Conference. And then I transferred and finished up my degree at Belmont University, which
Yes,
didn't
okay.
have Belmont basketball team?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, they crush it. They are top tier basketball. Or they used to be. They still pretty much are. But for football, it just doesn't exist.
Hang on, John. This is the point of the podcast. If you're not American, sadly, we're going to leave you in the dust for just a
we're
few
talking
minutes.
about
Just a
college,
few minutes, okay,
Just a few
guys,
minutes.
please.
Stick with us. Yeah,
allow us this indulgence for a few minutes to talk
Yeah.
about football. Anyways, please continue.
So yeah, but I used to go out to the UT games. So I used to go
Right.
to UT Knoxville, and I used to go watch those. So like it was a couple hour drive, and
Right.
106,000 people in the stadium. Like the experience is mind blowing, right? Like to go and see a sporting event with over 100,000 people in this one
Yes.
spot, and it's just insane. Like absolutely, they in Michigan were doing the battle for like during my university years. It's when Peyton Manning was playing.
Oh yeah.
The Peyton
yeah.
years, man. They went to the championship. Like it was the golden years, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
that was kind of the experience. But yeah, we used to sneak in all the time. You used to like get a little flask, tuck it somewhere, and bring it in, and load up your order a Coke or a Pepsi or whatever, and load it up.
Yeah, man. You bring your 2-liter. You see like someone young walking in with a 2-liter of Coke. That is not Coca-Cola. That is not Coke.
I'm sure now it's like they inspect and check everything, but
Officer, you want a sip? I can't drink on the job.
yeah, exactly. The cops
Yeah.
don't care. It's the security guards that care.
Yeah, so you got to be real discreet, like.
Yeah. Just
have it
get a
real
flask,
discreet.
sneak a flask in, you're fine.
Just sit in the top. Just sit in the nosebleed
Yeah,
section.
you gotta sit up top.
You have
Yeah.
You have the most fun there, anyways.
Or you gotta like do the thing where you're like, nothing
Yeah.
to see here.
Yeah,
You know,
very
you're
true.
pouring.
Nothing to see
You're like
there.
doing your little,
That's right.
like you're making a science experiment in your lap, like under the seat.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you gotta bring it pre-mixed.
Yeah.
Pre-mixed.
Anyway,
That's where you go.
how did we get on this topic?
I don't know, but I like it. Thank
Yeah.
you, everybody, for indulging us in our 2 minutes
All
of.
right, we're done now.
Talking
Thank
about
you. Yeah, we're gonna come back to your regularly scheduled football is actually a sport you play with your feet commentary.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Anyways, so I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
I think so too.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming and hanging out once again. We will be editing clips and putting it up hopefully this week.
There's some good clips.
Look,
There's some good stuff in this one.
definitely. So just give you a peek behind the curtains here. So I cut all our clips and I upload it on Wednesday. Wednesday midnight, Wednesday our time. So it'll be like, 12 p.m. Eastern.
Mid afternoon
Tuesday.
and
It'll be mid afternoon Tuesday for the US. I try to get it out every week. The weeks that I don't get it out is probably I'm really swamped at work because I do all the editing at the office during lunchtime. So hopefully I can get something out this week, and that's only going to be dependent on the typhoon because we have a typhoon coming in, so it's a hurricane for you guys back home. So hopefully everything is going to be all right. We can go back to work. And
if it's the one you guys, somebody commented, I forget who it was in chat. It was Luke Raya. It was like, did I hear rain? I'm like, yeah, that's the typhoon that you're hearing on my mic.
Yeah. We're supposed to we're getting the same typhoon here in Hong Kong because it's apparently coming this way. So you guys get it first. We'll probably get it sometime tomorrow.
It's not too strong. You'll be fine.
Yeah. So anyways, just wanted to update you guys on that. So hopefully we can get something out this week. Also, engagement. When you see us posting stuff on Facebook, go ahead, leave a couple comments, drop some photos in there. I hate to say this because it sounds so cheesy, but it does help us with the algorithm.
Yeah, it's just
really
like on
does.
YouTube. If you hit the like button, it matters.
Yeah,
like
it
you
does.
commenting
It really
in
does.
chat matters. It's crazy, but it just shows, tells the computers, our electronic overlords, that hey, this is something that's entertaining.
Absolutely.
So.
Use the community tab on the Facebook page as well. I've arranged it in such a way where it should be the second option on the top. So we have our post from me, and then of course this community is the very next one. So go ahead and use that. Create posts there too. I make sure I try to go back and click and like and so on. Next week's schedule will be the same time, 9:30 GMT plus 8.
Yep.
The topic, we'll announce it. I think the good thing about a show like this is we can be very kind of on the spot and keep it topical. We want to have topics that we can always go back and revisit. That's going to be like evergreen, but I feel like it's always something that spur of the moment when Jono and I text throughout the week. Oh, this is something we want to talk about, right?
Yeah, and it'll change throughout the week. We'll hey, let's do this. Okay, and then a day or two before the show, we're or even sometimes the day of.
Even better.
Oh, hey, let's do this. This is a good idea. And we'll kind of come up with something that works. So
yeah. We to be honest, guys, we actually do talk all the time. This is not some once a week where Jono and I would just text on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
Okay, we do text throughout the week as well. This is a real thing. And we just wanted to have an opportunity. To be honest, this is an opportunity for us to hang out and to kind of do something that we've always wanted to do, which is kind of make something for you guys to enjoy as well. So, thank you guys for coming hanging out with us as we hang out with each other. So, that's the thing.
And just like Ho Chi Gung asked, what's next week's scheduled topic? It's the same time.
Yeah,
the topic?
Exactly.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we always do.
It will happen.
But I also will say this. I think something we want to do before we wrap everything and close it out. I think by episode 20, which we're on 14 now, I think it's about time we extract the audio and we get it up on the podcast feeds. I think that's about time we start by episode 20. So another 6 weeks from now. we'll have all the back catalogs up on. I think 20 episodes is a good back catalog to put on the podcast. To actually put on like
I think so too.
iTunes, to put on Spotify, to have it out in all the proper places.
Yep. Facebook also has the podcast feature. They just unlocked it for us on Facebook. So go share the page with your friends.
Cool.
Ask them to come hang out. We will have this feature as soon as we start extracting the audio, and it'll be up there as well.
All right.
Multiple places for you guys to listen to.
Always. So,
all right, man.
As always, had so much fun with everybody in chat. With you, Mark.
Yes.
Congrats again on the license.
Finally, it's too long, and it was unnecessary how long it was. But anyways,
but you got it.
Yes.
So enjoy it. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Stay hopped up, everybody. My name is Mark.
I'm Jonathan. We'll see you next week.